I'm just going to say it. The Vikings finally have a legit offensive line. The team is 4-1. It's understandable to praise Justin Jefferson, who totally deserves praise, but it's comforting to watch this offensive line go to work. A couple of weeks ago, Garrett Bradbury, one of you, the viewers, asked if I'll apologize for ripping him on this channel. No, I will not. Why? The first 3 years he played like ass. What am I supposed to do? Pretend that he didn't? But to his credit, Garrett Bradbury, his improvement is the biggest factor for why this offensive line has played so well. In one-on-one blocks, he's been a brick wall. The chemistry he has with the guards and switching off of the help block should not go unnoticed. He's playing like one of the best centers in the league. I've never seen a jump in game from an offensive lineman quite like this. Ezra Cleveland at left guard, I've noticed he's playing with attitude. That first touchdown run by Dalvin Cook, even though it was on the opposite side of Ezra Cleveland, that first touchdown run by Dalvin Cook, Ezra Cleveland took on 2 defenders by himself and held his ground. I like his drive and run blocking. I'm at the point with Ezra Cleveland to where I can look away and know that everything's going to be okay. Ed Ingram probably plays with the most edge out of the starting 5. He does have the tendency at times to get caught off guard with the hand chop movements by defensive tackles, but in run blocking and moving in space, look out. I'm very optimistic as far as how Ed Ingram is going to progress as a pro. Brian O'Neill, I thought he would bounce back after a rough outing versus New Orleans in London. That did not happen versus Chicago. It's odd seeing him struggle the way he has the last 2 games. Before that, I'd say you'd have a better shot at spotting Bigfoot than watching Brian O'Neill have a bad game, but he's human. Brian O'Neill, that is, anyway, not Bigfoot. Fingers crossed, I'm going to try this again. Against Miami, he will get back to form. Christian Darrisaw, second-year man out of Virginia Tech, don't care, for my money, best left tackle in the game. Against Chicago, he went off. It was so dominant that at times blitzing linebackers would second-guess themselves mid-pass rush. In absolute force, he's going to be an all-pro this season, no debate. The way the offensive line has been playing, it's been the engine to make this offense go. Kirk Cousins has never looked more comfortable in the pocket, which is crazy that he's not on pace to have his career best season. On the screen plays, the O-line, they move out in space with purpose, as if they refuse to let a defender through. Before this year, it was, aw shucks, let's do the best we can. Now, these dudes are on a mission. You love to see it. As the level of competition jumps up front 7-wise for this offensive line, the rest of the schedule, I'm thinking of teams like Arizona, Buffalo, Dallas with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, Giants with Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, and rookie Kayvon Thibodeau. Against fronts like that, Minnesota will be put to the test, so it remains to be seen if they can put themselves in a position to be the immovable object versus the unstoppable force, so to speak. But for now, they're looking pretty good. This is something that we as Vikings fans have been begging for years, forever. Can we have a decent offensive line, please? We have that right now and then some. They deserve a shout out, and also a special shout out to offensive line coach Chris Cooper. He's got these boys playing. Comments time. Tyler Wright says, Broncos don't have their second this year, traded it for Cornball Senior, LOL. You're referring to Russell Wilson being the cornball being sent from Seattle to Denver in that trade, and in reference to the trade proposal that I came up with for the Vikings to Denver is we'll send you Dalvin Cook or Alexander Mattison, whichever you prefer, for a second-round pick. You're saying that Denver, they don't have a second-round pick, which is true in 2023. They gave up in that trade with Seattle for Russell Wilson. They gave up their first and second round picks this year, 22, as well as next year in 23. But I don't care. The next available second round pick that Denver has, 2024, I'll take that. Next comment by Miguel M. Hey, Randy, quick question. In your point of view, who would you bring in as a defensive coordinator, and why if Ed Donatel can't get his shit together and gets fired? As much as I hated this situation from the previous regime, I'd be super down for elevating defensive line coach Chris Rumph and defensive backs coach Durante Jones to serve as co-defensive coordinators. An in-season firing of Ed Donatel, I'd rather keep it in-house than hire from the outside. This is the team of collaboration, right? Work together, come up with a new defensive game plan. And for what it's worth, the previous regime, One half of the co-defensive coordinator situation was pure nepotism. This time around, you have two qualified individuals that I believe can right the ship. Last comment by Matthew White. He says, we made Fields look way better than he is. This soft shell shit has to go. Interestingly enough, I talked about this today with Declan Goff on Purple Daily, in that 3 of the 5 quarterbacks that the Vikings defense has faced so far, they've had their best games of the year against us. Jalen Hurts, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields before yesterday completed just 51% of his passes against the Vikings, 71%. The biggest concern here is that against Dalton and Fields, we're talking about 2 of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and those games went down to the wire. So if that is the case, going up against the better competition, the rest of the schedule, and even the playoffs, if you don't tighten up on defense, what we saw week 2 against Philly can easily happen again.